Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for 3-minute rounds and takes place in the Rocktagon MMA 170-pound weight division. Brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Introducing your combatants. First, fighting out of the blue corner, please welcome Alejandro Dummet.
And here comes Alejandro Dummet. I love this shirt. I'm not Mexican.
Well, with a name like Alejandro, you know what's funny is I asked him, "What's your nationality?"
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah. This is what I do know is that he's not Mexican.
He's not Mexican. He is 1-1, an independent fighter coming in the 170-pound Rocktagon amateur division. And he's a big boy. I mean, for 170 pound, he is certainly thick at that weight and can pack a punch there as well.
Yep, absolutely. I look forward to this one. He's got a wrestling, judo, and taekwondo background, so he definitely knows throws. He knows counters to takedowns, and taekwondo is high-level knockout kicks. So I look forward to see what he brings to the table.
To be able to perform judo at a high level, you have to have a lot of power in the thighs and the legs for the hip tosses and some of the things you have to do there, and it looks like he's built for it, certainly. He's not a lanky 170 pounds, as we'll see in the tail of the tape here in just a moment. Vaseline him up just outside the cage as we get ready to go. Great night of fights here at Rocktagon 23 so far. Got to thank one of our sponsors, Defense Soap, 100% natural with ingredients that have been clinically proven to be antifungal, antibacterial, and antiviral. Defense Soap is the official soap of the USA Judo team and can be found throughout the Olympic Training Center. Defense Soap customers include members of the ATF, Border Patrol, Marines, Army, and FBI.
And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, please welcome Ben Horton.
And in the red corner, Ben Horton making his MMA debut. And it's time to check out the Defense Soap tail of the tape. Ben Horton, 23 years old, as Alejandro Dummet, 21 years old. Horton, 5'10" tall. Dummet, 5'5". There's a huge difference in the height here, but not necessarily in the reaches. We'll get to in a second. Horton, 172 pounds. Alejandro, 179.5. And a 70-inch reach for Horton, but a 67.5 reach for Alejandro. So that tells you, just because he's given up 5 inches on his height, he's got longer arms out there, so you shouldn't see too much of a difference in that department.
No, he should be able to get off and get close. And like I said, it's two different styles. We got Clinton Street kickboxing versus maybe a judo wrestling background.
And Clinton Street, certainly known as some brawlers out there. This will be Horton's MMA debut, but with a guy who knows judo and a guy who knows kickboxing, could expect a whole lot on the stand-up. But as Alejandro told you before the fight, he'd like to take this thing down to the mat.
Yeah, I think that would be, obviously, if you're a wrestler, you want to try to get the guy down. And why try to kickbox a kickboxer?
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for 3-minute rounds and takes place in the Rocktagon MMA 170-pound weight division. This bout is being brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Once the cage door locks, your referee in charge of the action is Vic Ventresca. Introducing your combatants. First, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing in at 179.5 pounds. In 2 bouts, he has an even MMA record of 1-1. He is an independent fighter and hails from the rock and roll capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio. Please welcome Alejandro Dummet. His opponent, across the cage to my right, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter standing 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing in at 172 pounds. Tonight, he makes his MMA debut inside this Rocktagon cage. Representing Clinton Street Kickboxing and MMA, he hails from the city of Orangeman, Syracuse, New York. Please welcome Ben Horton. 3 rounds, Rocktagon MMA 170-pound weight division.
Off we go, Alejandro Dummet, 21 years old, 1-1. in the red trunks with the white trim. Ben Horton in his MMA debut in the white trunks in the 170-pound amateur Rocktagon division. They'll touch gloves and they'll get after it.
Yeah, it looks like Alejandro's stalking him right away.
And he already caught a left hand there from Horton, and now he's getting in close.
Uppercuts. Ooh, a nice belly shot.
And you can see already, Dumett wants to get in close on this fight, where Horton would like to create a little bit of space between the two fighters.
It's funny that, though, Ben was the one that ended up taking a shot, but you can see the hips and the power of Alejandro thwarted off that shot pretty good. I think he's looking here for a guillotine choke, and he's going to give up position to try to get that submission.
Looks like he's a little bit too far over to the side.
I would agree. I would not give up that position and go to my back.
Now he's going to start working the ribs.
Yep.
Nice right hand there.
Yep. He's going to look for an armless guillotine choke and the fence guillotine. I'm sure that that's tight. I don't know if it's tight enough to make him decide he wants out of there.
It's tough to pull off a big left knee, or excuse me, right knee from Alejandro to the midsection. Horton trying to answer back, but right away, I mean, Horton in his first MMA fight, and he's in the guillotine up against the fence and having a hard time getting out of it.
Yeah, he might be going to sleep here.
Yeah, Alejandro's really cranking that thing now.
Yeah, he might. No, okay, he's not going to. But you did see the grimace on his face. He was not having fun here in Cleveland, Ohio tonight. However, Clinton Street Kickboxing, they were in our last show, and they represent their school well. Everybody from Clinton Street Kickboxing, it's a great partner to have with here at Rocktagon MMA.
And you know they're going to be prepared for their fights, as Horton is. And there you go, gets away, and now a good right hand and another one. And he's on the attack now.
Yes, he is.
And a big uppercut and another one.
He's dizzy. He's dizzy.
Alejandro flailing wildly, blood coming out of his nose, and Horton absolutely put it on him there for about 15 seconds.
He basically took a second off and got hit right on the temple, and I think he's got to clear the cobwebs out of his head right now.
And maybe for Ben Horton, that was the best thing that could happen because, you know, sometimes you let all the energy out right away. He wasn't able to, and then as soon as they broke up, he unleashed it on Alejandro.
Yeah, Alejandro was not ready for that. And every time you blink, you got a new fist in your face, and it's hard to combat that.
Alejandro has Horton back up against the cage here. Moving him up. And, oh, yeah, you can see bruises on the back of Ben Horton there.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's from early on up against the cage or what, but he's got
it looks fresh.
He's got some nice ones. Certainly both guys eating some damage here in the first round of this 170-pound amateur division bout. And once again, is Horton working the rib cage of Dumett. You know, Rocktagon MMA, the only promotion that's able to offer 4 types of shows. They have the all-amateur shows, all-pro, as Horton into a dominating position here with under 10 seconds to go in the first round. They have the all-pro shows, the pro-am shows, and then the Rock and Rage, which really separates Rocktagon from everybody else.
This is tight. Oh, my God.
On a tap, but it was after.
Fight's over.
Fight's over.
Fight's over. It came. This is Victor Ventresca is going over. I said it's tight.
And that'll do it. Ventresca says that's it. The bell went at the same time as the tap, and they're going to give it to the tap. Alejandro not happy about it. If he'd have known how much time was left, I'm sure he'd just hung on.
Oh, God, it's holding your breath for one more second.
So tough. Easy for me to say because I'm not in there doing it.
Absolutely. Me neither.
And I talk for a living, so I don't hold my breath very often.
No, and unfortunately, I don't either. Now, the term saved by the bell didn't work out in this case.
No, it did not. So we go to the replay here, and you can see just right hand, and then the uppercut coming here is really what does a lot of damage to the temple, then he cups up underneath, and that's what really opened up the nose there.
Pepper. And now you watch his legs wobble right there. His knee gave out, and when you see a knee go out, you know somebody's wobbled.
Great win there by Ben Horton. He'll improve to 1-0 in his amateur MMA career.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 59 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by tap out due to a guillotine choke. And now, undefeated inside the cage, Ben Horton.
I'm here with your winner, Ben Horton, undefeated inside the cage. How's that sound to you?
Sounds pretty good.
All right, early on, look, Alejandro took control of the fight there for the first minute or so, but as soon as you separated, you attacked. Did you feel like you had the advantage if you were standing up?
Yeah, I felt like I had the range, so I was about to keep him at distance and stuff like that. And, I mean, he clipped me pretty good, so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I tried to take him down, but he's got a solid base to him.
Some big right hands there, and the uppercut looked like what really, really knocked him loose and was able to let you finish it.
Oh, I just went nuts. I was like, I don't know. Just kind of let it out in the cage and see what happens.
There he is. He's undefeated inside the cage. He's your winner. One more round of applause for Ben Horton.